and just take a moment to connect with each of you, to take that breath that joins us all. I'm starting a little differently today. I'm actually starting with a Bible verse. It's John 5. Many of you know this story about the pool of Bethesda. It was a pool in Jerusalem just outside the gates. And it was a pool which the diseased, the disabled, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed gathered at. Because there was a legend. And the legend was that an angel would come down to stir the water. And if you were the first one in, as that water was stirred, you would be healed. So Jesus is walking through the crowd. And he notices this man who's an invalid who's been there for 38 years waiting to get in the pool, waiting to be healed. Jesus looks down at him and says, "Do you want to be healed?" And here's what the man said. "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. When I'm trying to get in the water, someone else goes ahead of me." It sounds like a victim, doesn't it? Sounds like blame. And what did Jesus do? He bypassed this man's beliefs. He bypassed the superstition, the legend, the need for magic water to be healed. And he said to the man, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And the man did. The man was cured in that moment. He picked up his mat. He walked. He did not need quicker reflexes. He did not need angels or magic water. Today's talk is healing. And I ask each of you, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? If you do, I want you to pick up your mat and walk. I want every chair filled. So move forward so there's no space between the chairs. We have a chair there saved for Gabe, correct? Yes. Okay. The rest of you fill in the spaces. I want somebody next to everyone. It's very important that we make this connection today. There's chairs up here. We've got 4 right here. There's a saying in Unity that getting Unity people to move is like herding cats. Please move in so you're next to each other. There's still one in there. I want every chair filled, please. And this is for your healing. This is for your healing. Okay. So the man was healed because why? Because he let go of his beliefs. He let go of blaming the circumstances. He let go of being a victim. I just returned from 2 weeks in central Brazil at the Casa de Dom Inácio, which is known as John of God. Never heard about the place. I had an experience last spring that brought that awareness to me. 3 more times it was put in front of me. So not knowing anything about it, I knew I was going to go. You may see a difference in me today. When you spend 2 weeks in that energy, it's still moving through me. And so if I seem a little distant, it's just because I'm trying to work with this energy that's moving through me right now. And why today it's important that I bring you a healing service. Because I know this energy won't stay with me. Why it's important that you sit the way you're sitting. And I ask you not to cross your legs and not to cross your hands, so that the energy keeps moving. Whether you believe it or not, just do it. So Abidjania is a very little rural town in the center of Brazil. It is about an hour from the capital of Brazil, Brasilia. It's in Rolling Hills, very third world, very poor town. And this is a healing center. It's not religious, but spiritual. All beliefs, people from all beliefs go there. Atheists, agnostics go there, all countries. I met someone from Singapore, people from Australia, people from France. In fact, I heard very little English there. It was hard to communicate. Over the years, millions of people have gone through this healing center and been healed. There is a room filled with crutches and braces and wheelchairs that people no longer needed. For me, it was a very profound experience. I went without any expectations. And I watched my group. We were a small group of 7, and each one coming from a different part of the country. One from Ireland. And I watched as they moved through their changes as we were there. What I want you to know right now, as you're sitting in this room, as you're sitting right where you're sitting, that healing is happening in you. All you have to do is let go of your judgments, your beliefs, and your expectations. You don't have to do anything. So what does it mean? What does it mean to be healed? It's so much more than just our physical body. It happens on many levels. Healing can be emotional. It can be mental. It can be spiritual. It can be at the soul level. Emotional healing is when I become aware and when I start to accept my emotions without judging them. Without judging them. And when I'm able to express them, rather than, if they're not good, rather than stuffing them, letting them fester until they explode out of me. Or allowing my emotions of tenderness, of kindness, of love to be freely expressed and not be afraid that I'll be rejected because I'm expressing that love, that tenderness, that kindness. Emotional healing. I become comfortable with my emotions. I become free with my emotions. And in doing that, I live life so much more deeply and fully. Then there's mental healing. We talk about that a lot in Unity. Mental healing is about my thoughts, about my attitudes, about my beliefs, about those things that have been handed to me from childhood that I carry. It was the man at the pool's belief that he couldn't be healed. What beliefs am I carrying? What attitudes am I carrying that keep me from mental freedom? What I can tell you is I experienced something. I have studied with gurus that first came to this country since I was in my 20s. I sat at masters' feet. I've never experienced what I experienced there because I never got it. What is meditation? You know, sitting with our eyes closed, oming, mantras. It's the opportunity not to think. What would it feel like inside your head right now if there were no thoughts there? If there were no thoughts. If it was just this great big empty space. that's where healing happens, in that space. And we can do that. I'll share a little bit more about this in a little bit as we go on. So rather than making up these worry fantasies, because that's what they are, aren't they? When I worry, I'm making it up, aren't I? I could make something good up just as well. I make up and imagine what's going to go wrong, the what ifs. And when I do that, I lose the beauty of this moment. I use the beauty of this life. Just like the man at the pool of Bethesda, I become a victim. Mental healing allows us to move through life with a positive viewpoint, an appreciation, no matter what is happening, no matter what the circumstance is. Mental healing allows me to appreciate the gift of this life. And then this spiritual healing, which is that sense of purpose, that meaning. Why am I here? What's it all about? It's that awareness that I'm connected to all and everything. You are connected to that person sitting next to you on either side of you, the ones in front of you, the ones behind you. In spiritual healing, I no longer feel alone. When I sit with people, one of the biggest things is that loneliness, feeling alone, feeling I'm all alone in the world. But through spiritual healing, for that awareness that I am one with everything, that loneliness is gone. We had a phone conversation with everyone in our group that had been at John of God yesterday. And one of the ladies that came was 81. And she came really upset with what had happened in her life. And she became one of the joys of the trip. And in the conversation yesterday, she said, I was sitting home and I had this feeling that I was a cell in the body of Christ. And she said, I felt so much peace. This lady that had gone from anger and judgment from the 2 weeks and what had moved through her now has peace. Spiritual healing, I have awe in the simplest things of life, the beauty of every single moment. And I start seeing the world through eyes of love. And I ask, what can I do? I loved that song. What can I do to serve, to help others? This week, I got home Sunday, and I found I couldn't go out of the house. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we had a class here. And I found it very hard to come in and do that class. And I know the right people were in that class. We didn't have a typical class that day. It turned into something very special. And right now, I'm going to ask Gabe and Karen to come up and read. I brought prayers home from the Casa. And this is one of the prayers that fits right in with what I'm talking about. So if you two would come up. Just Abe, go over here, and Karen, you can be right here. Okay. Who's going first? Okay, just so Lizzie knows.
God, I spent so much time looking for you and didn't know where you were. I gazed at the infinite and couldn't see you, and thought to myself, do you really exist? I wasn't pleased with the search and went on. I tried to find you in religions and temples, but you weren't there either. I searched for you through priests and pastors and couldn't find you either. I felt lonely, empty, and desperate. I disbelieved In offending, I stumbled. In stumbling, I fell. In falling, I felt weak.
Weak, I looked for help. In help, I looked for friends. With the friends, I found affection. In affection, I witnessed love being born. With love, I saw a new world. And in this new world, I decided to live. What I got, I decided to give. Giving something, I received a lot. And receiving, I felt happy. Being happy, I found peace. And being in peace, I saw that you were inside of me. Without looking for you, God, I found you at last.
Thank you, guys. Healing happens when I quiet my mind, when I become still. How long have you been searching for God? Where have you been searching? Who have you been going to? It's time to turn within. It's time to look within. It's time to trust who you really are. I went to Abijania not expecting anything, just willing to accept with gratitude the simplest accommodations, and let me tell you, they are simple. A bed, a roof. The one nice thing is there were 3 meals a day, and it was fresh local food. The not so good thing was the room was stark. Our first room was on the bottom floor. Poured rain the first 3 days. These great big spiders like to crawl under the door and come visit us. Worms. Lots of abandoned dogs, lots of abandoned cats, baby kittens mewing in the rain. All part of it. All part of helping me not judge. Not expect that it should look any different than it was. Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays at the casa is open. And there's 2 sessions each day. One is at 8 in the morning and one is at 2 in the afternoon. And there's usually 300 people to 1,000 people that gather. And you wait. You wait to be called into your line, depending on what line. If you're a first timer or a second timer, there are different things. But even as you're sitting there, something is happening. And there's the inside room and the outside room, and it just stacks back as you wait. But this energy is always moving through there. Everyone's asked to wear white. Why? Because white is the highest vibration. It vibrates at the highest frequency. And so we sat there. All races, all belief systems, wheelchairs, crutches, the deformed, emotional, mental, spiritual, physical healing. Everyone coming for their healing. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter where they came from. It didn't matter what their position was in the world. It didn't matter who they were. We were all one, just as you are right now. We were all one in that energy. And I'm going to ask the 4 of you to come up. We have another prayer from Abijania. Just go ahead.
It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for dreams, for the adventure of being alive.
It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring in your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, or to remember the limitations of being human.
It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be your own true self, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. I want to know if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even if it's not pretty every day, and if you can source your life from God's presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of a lake and shout, yes.
It doesn't interest me where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary, bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done for the children. It doesn't interest me who you are, how you came here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside, where all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
Thank you, guys. So as you wait hours to be called in line, and then you pass through several rooms until you come to who we call John of God. You might get 10 seconds in front of this person, but in that moment, your healing needs are known, and you moved on, and you get a prescription. And that prescription can be that you have to take herbs. That prescription can be that you have to go to a crystal bed bath, which is like a massage table, and you lay on it, and there is an arm over it that has the color crystals of the 7 chakras, the colors, that passes over your body for 20 minutes, aligns your chakras. Many other things happen. You can be asked to visit the sacred waterfall. I'll tell you that story in a minute. You can be asked to sit in the current, and that's why I have you sitting the way you're sitting. Current in Portuguese, and Brazil is Portuguese, not Spanish, means chain. And the current is, when I say you don't cross your arms or your legs, so that the chain of energy keeps moving through you, so that we do this together. Because each of you, your authentic self, has the pureness, has the power of that energy. The other thing you can be prescribed is 24 hours in bed. 24 hours with your eyes closed, no cell phone, no reading, no writing. You only get up to go to the bathroom, and food is brought to you. Get up to eat that. No talking. 24 hours. When I heard of that, I said, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to do this. When I sat with my group, we had our group meeting, and I said, I don't believe any of this stuff. I'm just here because I got such strong guidance. I'm really a skeptic. And the guy just did this. The 24 hours was my best time there. And that's when I got, oh my God, I don't have to think. For 24 hours, I don't have to think. And I'm trying to give you this information without you calling people in a white coat and taking me away. Because those that have known me for a long time know everything has to be proven to me. I don't take anything unless I really get to experience it. And what I can say to you is, I had a roommate, Kimberly, and we called it being knocked out because all of a sudden we just went on the bed and we were gone. I had dreams, not regular dreams, that just went on and on and on. 24 hours went so fast. I don't have words to explain the experience. I'm walking around in that daze now, so bear with me because I'm finding it challenging because I was in it so long to operate the way I operated before I left. Let's just put it that way. But what I found, I'm going to skip because then you get 4 days off and then the class is open 3 days again. And since we'd already had an intervention, we weren't going to get anything. We have what you call a revision, and you go be in front of John of God and he just says you're okay to leave. Okay. That's all that ever happens. Our guy's been there 9 times. That's all that ever happens. Every one of us got sent back another 24 hours. Never happened before. And I had watched the group before this saying, well, you can ask to volunteer to do this. Well, I'm not going to volunteer, and we're getting ready to leave. Everyone was making their agenda. Even our guide said, well, we should take one and we should do it this day. Everyone had an agenda. The only thing the agenda didn't have was that we were going to get it immediately. And so we all got to see when I try to control things, when I think I'm in control. You know, you're here because you're on a spiritual path. You're here because you're doing spiritual work. And the biggest thing is that trust. We say there's God, we say there's spirit, we say there's whatever we want to call it. We say we believe in all these things. But where do I make the separation? Where do I cut it off and say there's a difference? Do I trust? Do I trust every part of my being to this higher power? And do I have to figure out exactly what it is? Because then I'm in my mind again, aren't I? All those old beliefs, all my thinking, all my resistance to change. I'm going to tell you that I'm thrown into a huge change right now that I don't know what to do with. And I appreciate you for sitting here today and being part of this. What I realized I really don't know what happened inside of me yet. Some people end up going to the hospital and finding out they have stitches in them that they don't know where they came from. Supposedly that 24 hours you get an invisible surgery. Then 7 nights later you go and have the stitches out in another night's sleep. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I'm open and I'm feeling stuff happening. Healing doesn't mean returning to how things were before. It's a letting go of everything that isn't us. Letting go of everything of who you think you are. And tapping into your authentic self. That way inside of you, that piece of you, you know that is there, that's always been there, that's been there since you were a child. That you that's been there since you were little. Healing's different than curing. Curing means eliminating evidence of disease. Healing means becoming whole in so many ways. Healing is possible. I want you to hear this. even in the absence of a cure, and can be done right up to your last breath. Fern, would you give me my water, please? A few weeks before I left, most of you know my daughter and son-in-law, they come to church. They live with me. The rest of my family's in Connecticut. My other daughter lives there with her family. And a few weeks before I left, we got the news that her husband, who's 48, was rushed to the hospital in pain. And they found out he had a liver filled with inoperable cancer. It had gone into his colon, and they were putting him on treatments. I was told if you take a picture with you to John of God, there are pyramids, 3 pyramids there, and if you put the picture there and hold prayer, that healing happens. Excuse me. And there's a little chapel in the garden, and if we have our new projector up next week, I will show you some pictures. There's 6 chairs in there. There's a pyramid in there, and I was moved to go in there. I think I have a cough drop sitting right there. Thank you. Only later did I find out the name of the chapel was St. Rita, which was my mother's name, and that she was Italian, which is my heritage, and that she's known for healing cancer. And that's where I was guided to put the picture. I returned home last Sunday. Monday night at 11 p.m., my son-in-law died. We had received the call in the afternoon. My daughter and granddaughter were there. We joined hands. And we just held a space of comfort for everyone. And again, this is something I wouldn't have said before. But as we joined hands, I saw that hospital room, and I saw it filled. Call them angels, call it energy, call it entities. I saw it filled all around him. And I saw such peace and such love and such comfort. My daughter, my son-in-law are not into this. My daughter Suzanne, her husband, left the next morning to drive up. And I sent my daughter there a text. We text once in a while. We don't talk a lot. But I felt this moving through me. And I said to her, Tom was healed when he died. I absolutely knew it. And I said, and he must be hanging out with you because I can't feel him. She immediately sent me a text saying, I love you too, something like she never does. And she said, you're absolutely right. He's been with me. He's getting me through this. A daughter that doesn't believe, that doesn't do spiritual stuff. Years ago, there was someone at a church in Melbourne, and she was in her 40s, and she had cancer. And I'd go to her home and visit with her. And she said, I know what's killing me, and I can't let it go. We did a 24-hour prayer service for her. She was able to get out of bed and have breakfast with her family. They were able to take her to the beach. And that night, in her husband's arms, she laid in bed and died. And he said to me, and when she died, she was healed. What I want you to know is healing happens on so many levels. So whatever you have going on in you, just open. Just open and trust that if you really want to be healed, you will be, where it's best for you. I learned I have to let go of control. There's a consciousness within each of us that knows no boundaries. There's a place inside of us where nothing is impossible. The casa was built from guidance. It was built in 1978, and it was told to be built in this little town. There were no even streets to the place. There was no running water. There was no electricity. After it was built, what they found was beneath it is a huge crystal mine. Very high vibrational crystals. You can't walk there without feeling vibration. I'm not into this stuff, guys. When I got there, they said, "Oh, you're going to buy all these crystals, blah, blah, blah." I didn't bring any crystals back. Let me tell you, I got crystals. Next Sunday, I have brought crystals back for everyone. And next Sunday, we will have another special service in which you get to pick your crystal, because it will vibrate for you. All these crystals have been blessed by John of God. And I bought one back for the church. It's a white crystal. It's the highest vibration there is. We'll figure out this week where that's. I'd like it to go right here, but then I don't know what I'm going to do with this stuff. So I'm going to end my talk, and then we're going to do a meditation for you to open yourselves to healing. So again, if you're comfortable, I like everybody sitting together so that this energy moves, so there's no empty chairs. So if you're going to move, now's the time to move. And Kim, I'm going to have you come up and do the last reading.
This is called Born to Manifest the Glory. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are we not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
In my group and told them I didn't believe. My guide said to me this, and then I realized these are the words at the casa. For those who believe, no words are necessary. For those who do not believe, no words are possible. Some of you know it. Yeah. So now I'm going to bring you through a meditation. And this is one of my favorites. It's Make Me an Instrument. It's based on the prayer of Francis of Assisi. And I'm going to ask you again to uncross your legs. Let your hands be open. The words will be here. And we will just continue to sing it and continue to sing it. And allow it to move through us. Okay, Lizzie? And keep my mic on, Lizzie. Fern, will you lead us when it starts again?
An instrument lost in me. Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace.
Let's join her. Let the words
As
come out.
I let go, as I release, make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me. As I awaken the living Christ in me. Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace. As I give love, love I receive.
Allow your soul to feel this. Open up to it.
Make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me.
Moving beyond judgment, beyond beliefs.
As I awaken
Allow yourself to
the
open.
living Christ in me. An instrument, Lord of thy peace.
Opening so energy flows.
As I let go, as I
Releasing everything that holds you back.
make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me.
Feel the sacredness. Feel your commitment.
As I awaken the living Christ in me. An instrument, Lord of thy peace. As I
Let your heart open in
give
love.
love I
Feel that love coming back into you.
Make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me.
As a chain of energy moves through each of you.
As I awaken the living Christ in me.
As you open to your healing.
Make me an instrument, Lord of thy peace. As I let go,
Feel energy moving in this room. Heart fully open now.
As I awaken the living Christ in me.
Breathe and just feel. You'll feel a gentle vibration within your body. As healing moves through you. Opening. Allowing. One in this chain. Supporting each other. Make me an instrument, Lord, of thy peace. As I let go, as I release, make me an instrument humble and free as I awaken the living Christ in me. And take a breath and say yes to this. Say yes to becoming your authentic self. Say yes to healing. Say yes to living this life as you came here to live it. In the fullness of complete joy, complete appreciation for every part of it. The good and what we often call the bad. All gifts, all part of your soul's healing. Take a nice deep breath. You're ready, open your eyes.